Theologically, at least for me, Christmas Eve symbolizes the day before everything changes and yet stays the same. The reality is, after Mary gives birth to the Messiah, she still has to do the ordinary and yet vital and difficult tasks of cleaning, raising, nurturing, and feeding Jesus. I often imagine what Mary and Joseph were thinking and doing as, according to the Luke birth narrative, they make their way from Nazareth to Bethlehem. I am sure they interacted with other people along the way, but I do wonder about the moment when they were alone. Were they scared, not truly knowing how their lives would eventually change, only knowing that change would be coming? Were they excited to have been entrusted with the task of raising the Son of God? Were they sad, grieving the plans they had once made and that would never come to fruition? Were they worried about how those in power would react to the birth of the one who would directly challenge their rule? Were they happy at the prospect of bringing new life into the world? Were they terrified by birth and the danger it presented to both Mary and the baby? And yet, even as I try to imagine the conflicting mess of emotions they might have experienced, I know one truth to be evident, that God's presence was with them. Regardless of how one views the birth narratives in the Gospels, as literal history, as metaphor to express a deeper truth about God, there is one core idea we can perhaps agree on. The idea that Mary and Joseph did not undertake this journey alone. Their lives were about to radically change, and they would also face days of being overwhelmed by the ordinariness of life. Yet God will be with them on every step of the journey. In a similar way, God is with us. Regardless of how we spend this Christmas Eve and Christmas, God accompanies us. Whether tomorrow is a day of anticipation and joy, or a day of grief and sorrow, or just another regular day, God is with us in the moments of excitement and happiness, in the times of crushing grief and loneliness, and in the moments that seem so bland and ordinary.